in southern Tasmania. It's great to see you all today. I'm just waiting for people to join. Bear with me and I'll check that my volume is okay. There we go with that one. Yep, volume sounds all right. Lighting looks all right. It's a lovely, bright, sunny day here at the moment. I think we're expecting showers this afternoon. It's not overly warm, so we'll just see how the day pans out. We've got some errands to run this afternoon, plus I'm hoping to get to the gym. It's been a few days since I got to the gym, so I need to remedy that. No worries at all. Okay, so just, a few people jumping on. It's great to see. Say hello. Tell me where you're watching from, and if it's your first time, please let me know as well. I may not get to the comments as I'm crafting, but I'll definitely come back and check them out afterwards. So if you've got any questions or anything, please pop those in the comments as well. Probably should point out as well, there is a new feature to the Restream product, which streaming product that I use, and that's this little QR code in the top corner. If you grab your phone, or say you have your this video on your laptop or your your tablet, and then grab your phone and take a picture of that barcode, it should take you straight through to my online store, so you can pick up any of the products that you're seeing me work with here today, which is it's a nice, quick and easy way of getting to that online store. Oh, we've definitely got someone now. Great. I can see Sally and Deb and Lynn. Lovely to see you all. Lynn's from Texas. Hope you're okay over there, Lynn. Not too hot. No, it wouldn't be not too cold. I suppose Texas is a little bit warmer than a lot of other states. But, yeah, I think we're all getting some pretty crazy weather at the moment. Okay, so we're going to look at these products today. The Rhino Ready bundle. This is a stamp set that comes with it. And it's got a die set as well, which is very welcome. And these two returning punches here, which are very welcome, because I love using punches when I'm putting together my classes. If I'm doing 30 class kits, it's much nicer to be able to punch them rather than pop them through the cut and emboss. That's just a lot quicker. So really happy to see these back. There is actually, I've got an old retired, this is a 1 3/4 and a 2-inch circle. I've got a 1.5-inch one there from before, which has retired. So fingers crossed that one comes back as well, and I'll be able to use all 3 of them. So anyway, so we'll be using all of these to make our card today. Here's the sample that I popped. No, that's not the sample that I popped. Here's the sample that I popped. Here's the sample that I popped up on my Facebook page. It's really sort of a big long card, I suppose, in a way. That circle on here pops through that circle in that hole in the top of the card, and it sort of folds flat like that. So it's a nice card. It fits in a standard envelope. But if it folds open like this, you've got a white panel there for your personal message. And I've added a little gift card holder sort of pocket there as well, just in that middle panel there. And it just, it lends itself to that. But of course, it's totally optional. You wouldn't have to do that if you're happy just to give it as a card. Excuse me while I clear my throat. It's a little bit croaky. So I'm sticking to our current in colours. We've got, this is my Starry Sky, and I'm actually also sticking to the Starry Sky for this particular one, the Starry Sky Designer Series paper and ribbon as well. Bit of a confession to make with this in colour paper. I had it and I didn't know I had it. So here's me always thinking to myself, I have to order that paper. And there it was in my stash all along. I felt quite ashamed. So anyway, let's start with this one. I'm not going to do the Starry Sky because I think it's a little bit dark for the video. So I'm just going to use another in colour. I'm going to use our Sweet Sorbet in this one, because I think it's going to be a bit easier for you guys to see what I'm doing against the surface there. So anyway, so we're going to use our Rhino Ready. And I've already popped the dimensions for this particular card up on the event, but I will actually pop it on my website as well. But if you pop into the event description, you will actually see this, the measurements for this card there already. As I say, this is our sweet sorbet. Just to quickly, it's a 11-inch long by 4 1/8 wide, so it's pretty much exactly the half piece of A4 cardstock, a wee bit cut off the end there. So it's 11 by 4 1/8. It's been scored at 4 1/8 from that end, so that's a square there, 4 1/8 and 8 1/4. So there we are. So that's there. So how it folds up is that one comes up in there, and then this one folds down on top. So that's what you're actually going for with that. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is grab our 2-inch punch, and on this smaller flap here, or the score between the middle and the smaller, you bring in your punch over to one side, line it up so that the score line is hopefully in the middle of that circle. It doesn't have to be mathematically precise, but just sort of roughly in the middle, so it looks like it's cutting that circle in half, and give that a punch. So we don't need this one, you can chuck that one away, but that gives us this sort of half circle sort of indent there, which is what comes up in there. So to continue with that, we also do need a circle which isn't sort of scored in the middle. So just grab another piece of whatever cardstock. You can use the same colour or you can use a matching one, doesn't really matter, and just do a straight punch. Now this one is going to, if we need to attach this to the bottom flap so that it peeks through that hole. So if you can see there, that's what we're looking for there, so that when that closes down, that little circle peeks through the hole, and that gives us this little pop-up bit here. Okay, so the easiest way I found to do that is to just grab your glue, pop it on the bottom half of your circle, just the bottom half, fold that up and line the top half of the circle up with the gap in the cardstock. So just line it up. So you're actually only, as I said, we're only actually sticking it to the bottom half, but it lines up perfectly with that gap, so that when you close the card over, it peeks through like that. Okay. There we are. Okay, so that's what we're going for there. So basically now you've got that circle attached to the end with a corresponding circle here. A wee bit complicated, but have a bit of a play and a bit of a practice, and it'll come together. Okay, so that's basically the card base done. So now we just need to do some decorating. So I'm sticking with the sweet sorbet. So I'm using this. This is from the 2002, 2004 in colour pack. It's a little 6x6 pack, which in itself causes a wee bit of problem with this card, but we'll come to that in a minute. So this one's got some cute little flowers on one side and some stripes on the other. Okay, so the one with the stripes is going to, no, apologies all, I've popped that on too soon. Anyway, the one on the stripes has got to go on first. Apologies, that's got to, I haven't followed my own instructions. The paper needs to go on first so that wee little circle can go on top of it. Here we are, we'll get there. So that's that piece of designer series paper is 4x4, and I'm going to redo my circle and pop that back on. Apologies. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yes, we're not all crafting along together. Okay, so that's what I'm going for. So the paper on first, and then the little circle on top. Obviously, if you can see the way I've done it, I did it before. The paper would have been over the top of the circle, and you wouldn't have seen the full the full circle with the sentiment on it. There you go. Could you use the circle you punched out? You could, Lynn, I suppose, but it's got the score across the middle of it. So I suppose if you popped it on there, we're going to be covering it with a white circle, so you won't see all of it, but you could, I suppose, if you wanted to save a bit of cardstock. But yeah, because it's got that score in the middle, I've sort of gone against my normal judgment and I've actually rejected it. Okay, so that's the bottom half of that decorated. Now I want to use the flower side for the top panel, so for this one here, and because it should be the full size of piece of cardstock you need for the top is 4 inches by 2 5/8. Now, because I'm being me and I didn't want to waste the design series paper, I've actually cut that out of 2 pieces. Just because it's 6 by 6 cardstock, I couldn't get 2 full pieces out of it. So I've actually just cut it down to halves. So if you imagine that that's a full piece of cardstock, that's the look it should be. So if you're not worried about going on to the second piece of cardstock, designer series paper, then you can just basically use that sort of size. But because I wanted to get it all out of a single 6 by 6, I'm going to cut that in half. It means I'm going to have a wee seam up the middle there, but it's okay because it's going to be covered by our little rhino eventually as well. So I'm going to pop that on. So as I say, pretend that's a single piece of designer series paper on there like that. And I've realised that this colour's quite bright. So to get that onto this piece of top flap of the cardstock, I'm actually going to put the glue there, and then I'm going to line it up like this. It's just easier to do it this way so I don't get glue in that little hole there. So there. So as I say, with this pattern, you can't even really tell that that's a join. And as I say, it's going to be covered by a little rhino anyway. So there we are. That's the cardstock on there, like that. I'm going to bring back in my punch wherever I've popped it. And I'm going to re-punch that just to punch the hole out. Just line that up. And punch it out. There we are. So we've got that little hole in there. Okay, so that's what's going to go like that. Okay, wee bit complicated this one. Now I'm actually doing it. I'm noticing that it's probably a little bit in and outy, but that's okay. So there we are. Just watch it a few times. There's a few examples of this on Pinterest as well. So anyway, so now I have a 4 by 4 piece of white cardstock, and that's going to sit just on there, just for our personal message. Just like that. And I need to punch a circle out of some white for there. So I'll just get my, now that's the 2-inch punch is the one we use for the big circle. So I'm just going to bring in the 1 3/4 inch punch for our white. And that's going to sit on there as our sentiment. So I'm going to grab my sweet, my sweet sorbet ink. Every time I do this, I realise that I haven't put the sticker on the end of it. There it is. And I can never find it, but there you go. I found it that time. So I'm going to say, hope your birthday is wild. Hope your birthday is wild. I'll grab a block. And I'm going to stamp that sentiment. Okay. So there's our little pop-up bit there. Okay, so I'm going to turn this one into a gift card holder as well. I have a 4" by 1 3/4 inch piece of also our sorbet. You could change that up and use a different colour if you want. I'm going to grab my 1 3/4 inch circle again. And in the middle, I'm just going to pop a little half or a quarter, third of a circle, just to make it easier to get the gift card in and out. We've just got a weird little indent in there. So I'm just going to grab some glue. I usually use double-sided tape for these, but there's plenty of room this time. Just glue right along the edge, as close to the edge as you possibly can. And we're going to pop that just in that little middle section. And that's going to be our little gift card holder. Now I'll let that dry a wee bit before I pop the gift card in, but you can see that the gift card's going to sit in that little hole there. Okay, so let's do, that's about the card itself made. Let's make our little cute hippo person to decorate the front. So I'm going to use this little guy here. He's wandering along with a little bird on his back. I'm going to just stamp him, assuming I've got room on that piece of card, little scrap I do. I'm going to stamp him in black. And I've got some other things to show you. We've got another card to do with this Rhino bundle, so please stay tuned for that. I'm really, really loving him as a character, or them. I'm just going to pop that there. So he's really, really cute. I'm going to grab my blends. So I'm going to do him in our smoky slate. I think that is smoky slate. And to match his the card base, I'm going to give him some light sweet sorbet toenails and horn, just to sort of carry that colour through. So let's get started. Now I'm not going to bother blending this one, so you can obviously blend your light and your dark with your wonderful blends, but I'm just going to make him all one colour just for quickness. So I hope everyone's having a good week so far. What did I do yesterday? I went and did some crafting in the morning, and then I went and visited Mum. And did some shopping. It was a very boring day now. I don't know why I'm even telling you about it. Crafting was nice. There we are. And I'll bring in her there. Red toenails. Had a bit of a pedicure lately. And a nice red tusk. Horn. The rhino horn, isn't it? Yeah, not tusk. Rhino horn. And a little red bird as well. There we are. So that's our little rhino friend there. I'm going to grab my mini cut and emboss and cut him out with the dies. I've shown the dies once before. I should have got them out before, but have I got them? stiffen out. Yes, I do. I've shown I've shown the dies before, but they've got some cute little add-ons there. There's some the grass. There's a little hill and some trees. A little party hat for our rhinos and some leaves. So it's a nice little set. You can add to that. Give your rhinos some background. Give him some jungle to live in with the trees and the leaves. And our little guy's just going to be wandering along with his little bird friend. Oh, yesterday was a big day. This is totally showing myself to be a geek girl, but I sat down in the afternoon and watched a series that I'm watching with my youngest son, although he's living away from home now. I watched it and then chatted to him about. We both watched it as soon as it came onto the streaming service, and then compared notes. So that was fun. I like doing those things with my kids. Anyone who knows anything about what's popular with the young ones at the moment will know which series I'm talking about. It's yeah, basically a zombie show, but anyway, that's all good. But yeah, we watched that and then had a bit of a debrief, which was nice. Okay, so there's our little rhino guy. There we go. I haven't really die cut that very precisely, but that's okay. I'm going to bring in the really nice Sweet Sorbet metallic ribbon. It's over here, which is a funny one actually, to be honest, because it's quite pink. You can see there it is quite pink, whereas Sweet Sorbet's, well, it's a pinky red, but the ribbon itself, or the twine, whatever you want to call it, metallic ribbon, is got quite pink tones on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it in a bow over this side. Probably could have tucked that behind the designer series paper because I knew I was going to be doing it with 2 pieces of designer series paper. That's all right. I'm using the just wrapping it around the whole top there. I'm just going to give myself plenty because I have to do a bow, and we know how we do bows. So that's going to go there. I'm going to pop our little rhino friend on some dimensionals and use that to trap our ribbon in place. So just pop these on the back. Okay, so I'm going to trap that across the front of that and make sure I leave myself enough to do my bow. That's about where I want it there. I'll pop my little rhino over there. That's going to trap the ribbon. He's too far over because then he's going to stop my hole from, oh, please come off. I'm going to have to move him back to the left a wee bit. There we are, that's better. So that's trapped that ribbon. We'll bring it back around. The bit there doesn't want to close down, it's being annoying. And then we'll do a wee bow. Okay, we'll trim the excess off. So that's our little little hippo there, wandering on with our Hope Your Birthday is Wild. And then we'll put the gift card in there so you can see that that fits in there. There we are. Okay, so there we are. So we're going to pop, we can put another little rhino on the inside as I have with the original. So just this little guy here is just sitting here having a bit of a funky day. Pop in there. And It's a Great Day is here. It's a great day. So obviously it's a wild day and a great day. I'm going to do that in the red, in the sweet sorbet. There we are. There's also, got that on my fingers, there's also a cute, absolutely cute little bird here, just so tiny. It's going to be it's going to be the stamp that I'm going to lose out of this set. Just watch. But he's just so cute. This little sticky bird there. I'm going to pop him just sitting just on top of there like that. There we go. That's the inside done as well. There we are. Okay, so that's our gift card holder, optional gift card holder, but pop-up card using our punches and our cute little rhino. There we are. Okay, so hopefully you like that one. As I say, the measurements to that are already in the event, but I will add them to my website because I know that events can be a wee bit hard to find after they've already been. But I just popped them on there just for my own purposes more than anything, so that I could come back to them later. Okay, so we're going to make another card with this cute little rhino set, and this is the one that just sort of struck me after I'd finished working out what we were going to do. I sort of thought about this one. It was inspired by a card that Jan Casey sent me. I don't know if Jan's watching, but she inspired me with a card she sent me, and I thought, that's so cute. I can do that with a slightly different twist. So I'll show you the card where we're heading, and I need you guys to tell me which version of this card you'd like me to do. So I've got the three little guys there. This is in a slimline card. So the three little guys from the set, the three little rhinos sort of sitting there on some watercolour squares. Or, so that's the slimline version, or just the standard size version is where they sort of, those squares have to overlap because obviously they're a wee bit big to go all the way along. So do you want me to do the slimline version or the standard version? So just pop on now and tell me. I'll have a drink of my coffee without slurping in your ear, which is a little bit cold now. Got excited and let my coffee get cold. So slimline, both. Deb, being greedy today. Standard, someone said standard. That's Jeanette. We'll do the standard one. Obviously, the slimline one is the same as the standard one, but it's just obviously what are these? The squares are sort of along there rather than all together like that. So we'll do the standard one, but I'll pop the measurements for the slimline card up as well, so you guys will know the measurements that are used there. So I'll do the standard, but I'll put the measurements for the slimline up as well. Oh, and I wanted to show you these. I thought these little characters are so cute. So I thought they'd be good with some masking so you could put them together in a group. So I was having a bit of a play and I came up with the three of them sort of masked there together like that. So they're sort of, obviously I've cut a little mask for the middle guy and stamped him, covered him over with his mask, and then I've stamped the other two. So they look like they're behind him, and then I've covered them in. So that is I think that's so sweet. That's going to make its way to a card, no worries at all. And then I had another play with the grass, and I thought I'll show you one at a time. I thought this little guy sort of coming out from behind the grass was so cute, like that. And then I thought this one was cute as well. He's sort of hiding behind the grass, but he doesn't sort of realise that we can see. You know how kids are? My kids used to love it. They used to hide behind I don't know, a pole or something, you know, even behind their own hands. And because they couldn't see me, they thought I couldn't see them. So that's what this little one's done. It's hiding behind the grass, thinking that we can't see, even though bits of it are overflowing. It was quite good, that little eye. You can see the little eye. The little eye is quite well placed there between two blades of grass. So yeah, so it's amazing what you can do with a bit of masking. So I really love the effect of them sort of all being together like that. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know whether they will make it to a video, but obviously masking is a technique we've done on multiple occasions. Anyway, let's do this one. So I've got to cut myself. I didn't cut any cardstock because I didn't know how the die was going to fall. So I'll cut my cardstock. For the standard sized card, I'm going to go my normal sized card base and 1/8 of an inch smaller for the stamping panel. So it's going to be 4 by 5 3/8. I'm going to keep it, going to make it the right size straight up rather than wanting to trim it down, because I need to get the positionings of those squares right the first time rather than trimming it down. So there we are. Okay, so on one of these blocks somewhere I have my watercolour square. You could do this with block stamping. I don't know if anyone's seen, I've got a really old video where I did some block stamping where you just put the ink straight onto the block, but you don't have to do that now because we've got our watercolour shaped stamp set. So yeah, so you know, you can do your watercolour shapes whichever shape you want. Obviously this time we're going to use the squares. So I'm sticking to some lovely bright colours. I'm sticking to the Parakeet Party, which is a current in colour, and the Tahitian Tide. And because I think I wanted a yellow, I'm going to use Daffodil Delight as the yellow as well. So let's get those. So we'll start with our Tahitian Tide, yes. So I've popped this square onto the block so that it's square on the block and it's roughly the same distance all around. So it's roughly in the middle of the block rather than all over one side or all over the other. And the reason I've done that is so that I can use the side of the block and the top and the bottom of the block as a guide as to where to pop the square on my piece of cardstock here, because I want them to be roughly lined up. So I'm going to bring the piece of paper a little bit closer to me, and then we can I line it up. So with the blocks, I can look down through the block and I can see the edge of the cardstock, top and bottom, or top and side. And I know that that is the starting position. Okay, so that's my starting position. So that's my Tahitian Tide one. So I'm going to grab a wipe. I know I had a wipe here somewhere. That one's dry. Just get a nice new wipe and wipe off that glue. Then I'm going to come in with our Parakeet Party. Definitely something about the current in colours. They are definitely bright. That is something you can say for them. Maybe we'll get some more softer colours in the neon colours. Let's see. Oh, sorry, I'm going to bring that closer to myself again so I can look down over the top. But as long as you can't see my grey hair, you'll be right. And I'm lining it up with the bottom and the side again. And coming down. There we are. That one's a bit crooked. That's all right. No one's going to notice if you don't tell anyone. I won't tell anyone. So So let's look green. And now we'll do the yellow one, which is the one over to the on the other side. Now it's going to overlap our green and our blue a wee bit, but that's nice. It doesn't matter. Green and blue and yellow make our pretty green anyway. So I'm lining that up so that it overlaps both the other blocks of colour evenly, and then come down. There we are. So that's our 3 little blocks of colour there. It's pretty simple to finish off from here. I'm just going to grab our 3 little rhino figures. I'm going to pop the, now I had to be pretty careful as to which rhinos I popped in which holes here, because this little guy is good there because he doesn't go too far up in that corner, so he doesn't bash into this little guy. And this little guy is more over the left-hand side, so he also doesn't bash into anyone. I think that my first attempt, which I don't think I've still got, have I still got it? Yeah, I've still got it. My first attempt, I tried to pop this little guy down the bottom, and you can see his horn overlapped the foot of the guy above. So I moved him. So that's why that was a first attempt and not a final attempt. Okay, so here's our little first guy. Now you can just use a well inked Memento black for this one. And I've seen similar cards done with stays on ink, which I absolutely hate, because it gets everywhere and it can't come off. I mean, that's just me, but you can get away with just plain black for this card. I'm sure people have lots of success with stays on, but I'm not one of them. I tend to end up having to rub it off for the next 6 months, and it gets everywhere, but that's me. Okay, so this is our little chap wandering around with his bird on his back. So he's going to go in the top there in the blue. He's just fits in there, and only just. So sort of line him up there. There we are. And then the last one. Haven't seen this one yet. He's just sort of hanging around. He's going to go in the bottom block. There we are. Okay, that's our 3 little rhinos. I think the sentiments sort of picked the spots for themselves, to be honest, with this card, because there's a quite large gap there and a skinny gap there. So I'm going to use the same sentiment that we used on the first card. I hope your birthday is wild. I'm going to pop that there. And there's a little hello friend, which is just nice and tiny. I'll pop that on a smaller block because I know things will go horrible if I use a big one. And I'm going to pop that just in that narrow gap that fits perfectly well. There we are. Okay. And just because I don't like blank spaces, I thought I would bring our cute little bird friend in and have him just sitting up here watching proceedings. There we go. So there's our 3 little rhino friends in their particular coloured boxes. Oh, I hadn't had my thing up then. There was one of you guys couldn't hear me. I had my headset up. That was from when I had my coffee. Anyway, it's all right. I'm back now. Okay, so that's our 3 little rhinos in their cards. So what I'll do is now just grab a piece of, I've got a piece of thick cardstock here. Finish off with our card piece. Score it at 1 1/4, 1 1/8. Now, I'll need you to make another decision for me. I'll show you, and I don't know whether it's going to make enough difference for you guys to notice it. The original card, you can see it there, I popped it through the embossing folder. I wasn't really sure that I was adding anything to the card by doing that, but I just like to have a bit of a look at it as well. So, embossing folder or not embossing folder. And I'll just wait for 2 seconds while you tell me which one you would like. So the embossing folder I've used is the crosshash one from the basic embossing folder pack, which is also an online exclusive. So yeah, so in no catalogues, you have to actually go online. Embossing, we've got a couple of embossings. Okay, you guys like embossing like me. Okay, so as I say, I'm using the crosshash one on the online exclusives, which has become one of my new favourites. There it is there. Really, really good. I'm actually going to pop it through the other way so that rather than being little grooves, they're little, what's the opposite to a groove? Gullies. I don't know, it makes any difference, but I quite like the gully way. There we are. So those embossing folders come in a pack of 3. Really, they're all really, really nice. I've actually played with them, a couple of them already. There's one that looks like there's some dots in it, but somebody said something. I said they look like little muffin racks. And then we've got this floral one as well, which is really nice, and our crosshash one. So they come in a pack of 3. So there is our embossed card. Grab some glue. Pop that on there. I might use some bling, or it was not exactly bling. I'm going to use the in colour dots here. It's decided to clog up. Come on. Yeah, I knew you'd come out in a big blob there. Put that on there. I'll sit down. I stood up then, but I can sit down now. There we go. So I might use some of the in colour matte decorative dots. That's what we have in our in colours this time. And I'm going to pop the blue, the Tahitian Tide. I'll pop a couple of those up there. Come back here. And this is the green, so I'm going to use a green one down here just to be a bit of a rebel. There we are. There we are. Don't have a yellow one because obviously that's not a in colour, but that's fine. So green one down here with that, and blue ones up there. There we are. How's that? How wide are they? They are the full. They're full size ones, not the little half ones for the mini. So I think that makes them 4 and a bit. Yeah, 4.5 wide they are thin, and about I think they're about 6 long. Yeah, 6 long. So they're the full A6 card size ones rather than the little halves. Okay, excuse me, got a frog in my throat. So there's our little cute Rhino. So we've got the Rhino there in the standard size. We've got the slimline one. So basically a slimline card is, well, the way I do mine, they're 8 long and 3.5 each. So the piece of cardstock is 8 by 7, scored at 3.5 on the 7 side. and that gives that. And then just the plain piece of cardstock on the top that's 1/8 of an inch smaller. So there we are. Yeah, so I love that little Rhino. He's got so much personality. I know rhinos in the wild would probably stomp on you rather than smile at you, but I'm quite happy that these little guys are a bit friendlier. So we've got those. So thanks for joining me today, guys. That's all I really wanted to show you today. We've got our little gift card holders there with the punches that we've used as well. And then we have our little rhinos as well. Little friendly guys. Pop that down there, pop that there and that there. How about that? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. As I say, if you want to go straight to my online store, you can use the little QR code there, or you can use the code that's down there. Look at me being all, I'm like a weather girl showing you things on the screen. So there's the code there that goes straight to my shop, or the QR code if you can get it to work. You have to make it quite large, so be looking at it on a computer or something like that to bring your phone in and use that code. Okay, so thanks very much, guys. Have a great week. I will see you all again at the weekend. And as I say, if you've got any questions, please reach out. Okay, see you later.